The Industrial and Gilded Ages, Section 2, with Ms. Lashy. Entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs used their own money to start businesses. They took on the risks of success or failure. So they invested their own money. And if there was a profit, then they got to have the profit. But if the business failed, then that meant that they were out whatever money that they invested. Big business. Some businesses grew very big and took advantage of both their customers and employees. Corruption in business and politics became widespread. Monopolies. A monopoly is when you control the entire supply of a product or service. Monopolies became common as big businesses grew. Monopolies were eventually made illegal. So, for example, if somebody owned the entire supply of iron, they would have a monopoly on iron. Trusts. After monopolies became illegal, trusts began to form. Trusts were companies that owned several small companies, essentially still a monopoly. The Sherman Antitrust Act made it illegal to form trusts. So what would happen is you'd have a larger company, and let's say it's Joe Bob's, I don't know, oil company. Okay, so you have Joe Bob's oil company, and they own a series of, let's say, 10 other smaller companies with 10 different names. But they're all owned by this one larger corporation, Joe Bob's Oil Company. Now, even though they're doing business with their independent names, they are still owned by that larger company, and that makes it a trust. Political machines. Political machines were run by political bosses. They caused corruption in the government. Political bosses would promise new immigrants jobs and housing if they promised to vote them the way that they told them to. So essentially what would happen was immigrants provided this endless stream to help fuel the political machines. The political bosses would send their agents, or they themselves would go meet the immigrants coming off of the ships, and they would say, hey, I will help you get a house, well, not necessarily a house, but an apartment or a place to stay or a room. I will help you find a job. I will help you learn English. I will help you get citizenship. And after I've done all that, you're going to turn around and you're going to help me out by voting the way I tell you to. Boss Tweed. Boss Tweed of Tammany Hall in New York was a political boss. He used favors and gifts to stay in power, and he was eventually arrested and sent to jail. Boss Tweed is probably the most famous political boss of all time. What finally did him in and got him arrested was he was spending millions of dollars in money, in which would today would probably be in the billions, possibly in the trillions, on renovating this public building. And it shouldn't have cost as much as it was, so it caused a lot of red flags, and people started to become aware, and he was investigated, and because of that, he was sent to prison. Immigrants. New immigrants to the United States were willing to work for low wages in factories and other industries. They worked for less and longer than those who were born in the United States. They also helped to contribute to the rise of big business.